Hi, it's Ike from Groovy Entertainment. Today we got another book to read for you. Today's book is Pinocchio from 1953. So let's get started. One night, the evening stars shined down on a tiny village. Only one house still had a light burning, and that was the workshop of Geppetto, the kindly old work carver. He was busy carving a little puppet. Isn't Pinocchio almost like a real boy? He chuckled. Climbing into bed, the old man mumbled, "I wish you were the real boy, Pinocchio." Jiminy Cricket overheard Geppetto's wish. He had seen how kind and gentle the woodcarver was, and he felt sorry because the lonely old man wish could never come true. Suddenly, a streaming light filled the room. Then a beautiful lady dressed in shiny blue appeared. She raised her wand and said, "Wake up, Pinocchio. Skip and run. Good Geppetto need a son." Pinocchio blinked his eyes and raised his wooden arm. "I can move," he cried. "I'm a real boy." "No," the blue fairy said sadly. "You have life, but to become a real boy, you must prove yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish. And Jiminy Cricket would help." The next morning, Geppetto couldn't believe his eyes. There was his puppet, laughing and talking and running. "It's true, Father," Pinocchio cried. "I'm alive." After the initial joy was over, Geppetto said, "But now, Pinocchio, you must go to school. Study hard, then you'll soon become a real boy." Meanwhile, Jiminy Cricket had overslept and now jumped up in a great hurry. He caught up with Pinocchio just as the silly little puppet was walking off with the worst pair of scoundrels in the whole countryside, J. Waterton, Foulfattle, and Gillian. The villain convinced Pinocchio that he should forget about school and become an actor. "But Pinocchio," cried Jiminy, "what will your father say?" Pinocchio said, "Father will be proud of me." Soon they came to a puppet theater. When its owner saw Pinocchio, his small evil eyes glittered. "What a John card!" he exclaimed. "A puppet without strings." The fox nodded. "And he George," he said, smiling agreeably and holding out his paw, "for a certain price, of course." That night, Pinocchio sung and danced. The audience cheered for more. A puppet without strings, it was a miracle. But when Pinocchio started to head home for the night, the puppet master sneered at him. "You are mine, and you stay here." And bang, before Pinocchio could resist, he was locked in a birdcage. "Oh, Jimmy," Pinocchio sobbed, "why didn't I go to school? I'll never see my father again." Suddenly, the blue fairy appeared before the sad friends. "I'll help you this time," she said, "because you are truly sorry. Run home now, Pinocchio, and be a good son, or you'll never become a real boy." "Whoosh," Pinocchio sighed thankfully. "Let's go home." He and Jiminy started running as fast as they could. But whom should they bump into but Foulfattle and Gideon? This time, Foulfattle pursued the gullible puppet to forget his good results and take a real on Treasure Island. "You promised to go right home," Jiminy cried. But Foulfattle said, "I need to rest after my terrible experiment." They came to a coach bound for Pleasant Island. It was pulled by small donkeys and filled with noisy boys. As Pinocchio climbed aboard, Jiminy saw the The evil-looking coachman let fell a heavy bag. Against the fox had sold Pinocchio. After boarding a ferry, the coach docked at President Island. Here streets were paved with cookies and fountains spout lemonade. Pinocchio soon made friends with a young bully called Lumpwick, who was always in the middle of mischief. Jiminy was not happy. He shouted at the puppet to go home. Don't tell me you are scared of a beetle. Limpet snickered. Jiminy was about to march off when all of a sudden Lampwick and Pinocchio groaned. The boys was spouting donkey ears. It's donkey fever, whispered Jiminy, horrified. You was lazy, good for nothing boys, so you're turning into donkeys. They quickly dashed through the streets. As they rounded a corner, they saw the chairman, heard a bunch of bragging donkeys, many of which still was boys, hats and shoes. Pinocchio and Jiminy managed to climb up the wall surrounding the island, but Lampwick had already turned into a donkey. There was nothing they could do. With a lump in his throat, Pinocchio followed Jiminy and dove into the sea to escape. They had a long, hard journey home. By the time they came to the village, it was winter. They hurried to the pedo door and pounded on it, but the house was empty. Just then, a gust of wind blew a piece of paper around the corner. Hey, Pinocchio, Jiminy exclaimed, it's a letter. Dear Pinocchio, I heard you had gone to President Island. So, Figaro, Cleo, and I started off in a small boat to find you. Just as we came in sight of the island, one of the seas rose the great well. He opened his jaw, and we went. Now, dear son, we are living in the belly of the well, but there is very little to eat here, and we cannot exist much longer, so I fear you will never see your loving father, Geppetto. For a while, they both, for a while they both silent too, sad to speak. Then Pinocchio stood tall and said, I am going to save my father. Just then, a dove, wearing a golden crown, appeared. I will take you, she said. Climb on. Then she spread her wings and flew, until they reached the seashore. Pinocchio and Jiminy did not know that the dove was the blue fairy in disguise, and that it was she who had bought them Geppetto letter. When the dove was out of sight, Pinocchio tied a big stone to his donkey tail. Then he and Jiminy leaped off the cliff into the ocean below. As soon as they reached the sandy bottom, Pinocchio scrambled to his feet. Come on, he said, let's find the well. We will never find him, muttered Jiminy. We're probably looking in the wrong ocean. Jiminy was worried. Very near them floated the well they were looking for. Fast asleep inside the well was Geppetto. He had set up a crew home from the ship. The well had throttle, and every day he fished in the well belly. But now that the well was sleeping, no fish came in, not a bite for days. Figaro, Geppetto said, mournful to his cat, if the well doesn't wake up soon, we'll all starve. Just then the pedo felt a nibble. Food, Figaro, he cried. But when the catch was landed in, it was only a cookbook called How to Cook Fish. It was a solemn moment. All felt that the end was near. And then the whale moved. The whale gave an upward lunge, and through his jaw rushed a wall of water. Here comes fish, a whole school of tuna. Pinocchio saw the whale coming at him. He held on to a fish and was eaten too. Soon Geppetto was pulling fish after fish out of the water. He was so busy he almost didn't notice Pinocchio getting pulled on board. "Oh, my dear son," he exclaimed, "it is really you." They were thrilled to see each other again. Now they could only get out of the well. Pinocchio had a plan. The puppet set fire to a pile of crates. As the fire began to smoke, they jumped onto a raft. Soon the whale gave a monstrous sneeze. Out went the raft, past some crunching jaws, into the open sea. But they were not yet free. The angry whale plunged after them and splintered their freight craft. The pedal was sinking. "My son, save yourself," he cried. But the brave puppet kept afloat as the giant waves swept them toward the shore. Geppetto laid on the beach. Gratitude filled his heart, and then he saw Pinocchio laying beside him, still cold and pale. The old man was heartbroken. Geppetto gathered poor Pinocchio into his arm and headed home. Then he prayed. Suddenly a ray of starlight appeared. A soft voice said, "And some day, when you have proven yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish, you will become a real boy." Pinocchio sat up. He looked at himself and felt his arm and leg. Then he knew. "Father, look at me," he cried joyfully. The blue fairy promise had come true. Pinocchio was a real live boy. So that was Pinocchio from 1953. If you like, subscribe, share, and comment, and have a groovy day with another video coming out real soon.